What do you make of this divide? Does it spell trouble in the future for your caucus?
Mark Pocan, who is one of the leaders of the Democratic Progressive Caucus, gave a little insight into their decision to endorse Shontel Brown over Nina Turner for Ohio's 11th district. Now, this is a primary that is taking place tomorrow, May 3rd. If you are in Ohio's 11th, Nina Turner is the obvious choice here. I'll get to more on that in a minute. But first, I want to share this. So I covered earlier a few weeks ago when it came out that the Progressive Caucus endorsed Shontel Brown over Nina Turner. At the time, I said this wasn't at all surprising for the caucus to do this, considering Shontel Brown is a part of the caucus, even though the fact that she is in it makes absolutely no sense. I'll get to more on that as well after the clip. But first, I want to show you what Mark Pocan said here on MSNBC when questioned about this division between the support for Nina and the support for Shontel Brown.
As you know, there's big disagreement right now in your caucus over this race, Shontel Brown versus Nina Turner. Bernie Sanders is standing by his endorsement of Nina Turner, despite the CPC's endorsement of Brown. And if you think about it, one of the strengths of your caucus is your ability to stay unified. What do you make of this divide? Does it spell trouble in the future for your caucus?
We have almost 100 members, and when we took the vote, no one voted not to endorse Shontel. So I don't know if the divide that, some of the journalists in Washington, D.C., for some of the Capitol newspapers like to say, but we didn't have it when we endorsed someone. And, the good news is you've got two great progressives running. I mean, we like this option. What I don't want to have options is where we got people who are, not going to be supporting things like Medicare for all and other priorities. Here you've got people who are, and I think at the end of the day, that's good for the people of Ohio and good for the American people, but people in that district will ultimately make the decision.
All right, so a couple things really stand out about what Mark Pocan is saying here. First, the endorsement apparently had no one disagreeing, that they were all in line to back Shontel Brown. Now, we don't know who was in the room. We don't know if the entire caucus was there. So, people like Ilhan Omar, Rashida Tlaib, AOC, were they, completely on board with backing Shontel Brown over Nina? It's impossible to know, but I mean, we kind of know. They have not come out to endorse Nina Turner. So for whatever reason, I'm sure a lot of it is politics. They're afraid of if they come out to endorse back Nina over an incumbent, it's going to come back and hurt them in some way. But if you're going to go in there and be a fighter, you have to be willing to challenge your own members, especially when you know they are not progressive and completely full of shit, as Shontel Brown is. And I'll show you some examples in a second. But what I also find interesting here is Mark Pocan's very flaccid endorsement of Shontel Brown, because they backed her. This is their person. She's a member of the caucus. Yet he says here they have two very, two progressive choices to make. So, I mean, he's not like, normally if you endorse somebody, you're going to be like, oh yeah, Shontel Brown, of course, she's our pick for this reason, this reason, this reason. You should go vote for her. But he didn't do that. He's just like, yeah, we have two great progressive choices. So whoever you pick, it's whatever. Like, this is not a strong endorsement of Shontel Brown. So I think it shows you that, of course, he is aware, though, again, the politics plays into it. She's an incumbent. She's a member. He's not going to come out against her. But he's aware that Shontel Brown is not who she claims to be within the Progressive Caucus. And examples of that, last time, GOP donors, Republicans funded Shontel Brown against Nina Turner. I mean, that should tell you everything. I covered this heavily back then because it was so blatant. Like, when you have Republican donors coming in to support you, maybe you're not the progressive candidate. But they're doing that again this time. A lot of money, a lot of dark money backing Shontel Brown and against Nina Turner. You also have a crypto PAC now, this time around throwing in $1 million to back Shontel Brown over Nina Turner. Again, showing you the support behind Shontel Brown is financial, Wall Street, big oil, big pharma. How can you claim to be progressive when you're taking big oil, big pharma, Wall Street money? Now, she isn't the only one in the so-called Progressive Caucus to do that. This is why these labels are so ridiculous. When you can do this and still be a part of the Progressive Caucus, that label now means nothing, especially because Shontel Brown joined the Progressive Caucus just a day before Nina Turner entered the race. Because look, this is when she announced new member of the Progressive Caucus, January 25th, and a day later, Nina Turner announced her run. Because Shontel Brown knew, once she got word that Nina was going to announce the run, she joined the Progressive Caucus knowing that she had to have the left flank, at least the appearance that she was part of the left in some way, that she's a progressive. So she joined the caucus for that reason alone, because she was already a member of the business-friendly New Dem coalition. So she joined that back in December. She was eager to join the business-friendly coalition, but when it comes to the Progressive Caucus, she only joined it a day before Nina Turner announced her run. And you may ask, how can she possibly be a member of both? I would also like to know the answer to that. I mean, how can you claim these caucuses mean anything if you can be a member of two groups that are diametrically opposed to each other? It makes absolutely no sense. But that's why these caucuses, these groups within the party, make absolutely no sense. They mean nothing. What matters, what shows you who these people actually or what they actually support, is the money behind them. So when you're funded by Republicans and crypto money and big pharma and big oil, that tells us what you're about, regardless of what you're saying on the campaign trail. Now, also worth pointing out here that this district has been redrawn. So since the last primary. So you have here, there's new, so as Nina tweets out, 30% of Ohio's 11th is new. It now includes 100% of the city of Cleveland, Lakewood, and parts of eastern Cuyahoga County. And you can scroll through this. I'll link to below the video to see if you are part of this new district. As she breaks down each piece here. Like Beechwood is in it now, Bedford. So I will link to that below. But you better vote. That's all I'm saying. If you're in this district, if you haven't voted early already, make sure you go out and vote. Again, it's tomorrow, May 3rd. Hopefully you see this video by then. Make sure you are voting in this district. Now, the real game changer here, as you're going to see how close it was last time, 50.1 to 44.6. What will really move this race for Nina Turner is what's happening on the ground, door knocking. There's only so much that, YouTube videos can do when you're talking about a district within a state. We're talking about a limited population here in terms of the impact of information online. What really moves voters is how well they are doing with their ground game. So that's going to mean everything here. We're going to see if Nina's able to. It's much tougher to defeat an incumbent than fill an open seat. So last time the seat was open, because of all the money pouring in for Shontel Brown, she was able to barely squeak out a victory there. But if the vote is maybe a little more suppressed this time, there's less interest in this race because Shontel Brown's already there. Maybe a little more excitement for Nina because she's on the ground, knocking on doors, getting people out to change, to replace Shontel Brown. That may encourage people more on Turner's side to come out and vote. Again, it's impossible to know, but bottom line is the ground game is what matters most, and we're going to see if it was enough to defeat Shontel Brown. Now, last thing here, I will link to this below. You can read the full piece, but this is a great short breakdown on why it's important for Nina to win this race, not only for Ohio and that district, but for Democrats in general. So as Alan Minsky writes here in his title, a victory for Nina Turner is exactly what the Democratic Party needs. A Turner win in Ohio's 11th congressional district will revive the Democrats' chances of holding onto the House and Senate in the fall, as it will inspire young voters and the party's progressive base who have become demoralized. Going on to say a victory by Turner on Tuesday will have an outsized impact on the fate of progressive candidates across the entire midterm election cycle. The primary season begins in earnest on Tuesday, and given Turner's national celebrity status, a dramatic comeback win by her will instantly alter the national political narrative. The showdown between progressives and moderates for control of the Democratic Party will take center stage for the next 4 months. So this, I think, is a great point. If you have a surprising victory, a challenger taking down a corporate incumbent, that absolutely does lead to could potentially lead to a national narrative of, again, this progressive working class base, what the voters actually want versus what moneyed interests want. So, of course, the way, media covers that generally is not as accurate as I just laid it out there, but that's what it is. It's the working class versus money. So Nina Turner, this race is a perfect highlight of that. If Nina Turner can overcome this Republican, big oil, big pharma, moneyed candidate and overcome it with a ground game, with an actual working class, hopeful message, that shows you what Democrats need to do moving forward. And again, we know this already. We don't need a victory by Nina here to show us this. But it does showcase what is possible when all the odds are stacked against you. So we are going to see. Tomorrow is the big day. Look, it's going to be tough. A lot tougher, I think, than last time. But I'm sure there are lessons that were learned from the last race less than a year ago. And if they have the ground game, then I think Nina Turner can absolutely pull it off. And again, if you are in Ohio's 11th district, look it up. If you're in that district, make sure you go out and vote for Nina Turner.